You gotta choose one. Who are you, son? Who will you become? What are you made of? Are you the runaway type, or the run into the fire type? Are you a put the gun away type, but did you come here ready for a fight? Cause everybody's looking at you. This boy from Fairfield Sassoon, this boy with holes in his shoes, this boy who's too drunk and useless. So who will you be right now? Do you believe right now? Will you unleash right now? Cause this is your day. Some wanted to break you. You've gotta be brave. No one's gonna save you. Take it straight to the vein. Do what you're afraid to. Don't show them your pain. Show them who it made you. Break or made of stone? Will you live afraid of showing your glow? Will you step into the light and kill the devils you hide? Or you could be free, my son. You got a king inside. I know you got a mind full of demons. Your grandpa Jim couldn't let his go. And me, my life was a treason. Who I could have been, I slit his throat. So my son, right now decide. Will you fall or will you survive? Cause this is your day. Some wanted to break. You've gotta be brave. No one's gonna save you. Take it straight to the vein. Do what you're afraid to. Don't show them your pain. Show them who it made you. Take it straight to the vein. Do what you're afraid to. Don't show them your pain. Show them who it made you. This is all trouble, she said. You're looking like a double of you, she said. Like those eyes looking at me, all some other color, she says. Like why you drink so much? I love you, but crying to sleep so much. I'm done with it. I looked her in the eye. I said you can't get this from kissing your wife. See, life is a dream now. I feel peaceful. I feel a freedom, otherwise I can't reach. This ain't a glass, it's a type of key. To where they keep the bride of me. Like I got a monster, I said. It gets quiet when I chug a mug of lager, I said. And let me tell you, it's a bit of hell living with him around, I said. So why I drink so much, I tell you my mind's a hive of bees. They're yelling that I got no worth in my life. Like somehow I'm blessed with worms in my eyes. See, life is a dream now. I feel peaceful. I feel a freedom otherwise I can't reach. This ain't a glass, it's a type of key. To where they keep the bride of me.
What's going on today, guys? Nothing much, I'll tell you that. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Big dumpy. Which did kind of suck. I got kicked out of a couple positions today, but it is what it is. We took the short on BTC. I did get kicked out of my ADA short, which I didn't really publicize, but I saw it as an opportunity right when I was crossing over that line. I tried to take it. When I went to bed, I just ended up getting kicked out of it, so let's go ahead and switch over to live screen. And we have no positions. The only one that was able to hold was Ethereum from 1776. And I'm looking to get back into some. Right now, BTC doesn't have anything. If we do happen to come back down and touch about 28,700, I might try to get back into it, considering the fact that that was the original ABC position anyways. Right here. We had A, we had B, we had C. So I might retake that one, but as of right now, with the larger position here, let me actually use the trading view chart. All right, for the larger position that we just took, I took profit of the 0.618. Like I said, 28,800 is the level that is of major support, but I figured I'd, kind of go with the flow of things. The 0.618 took my profit. I did get stopped out once right here, and I had to re-enter, but ain't no problem. I think it came out to about a 6 risk reward ratio in the end. Not enough to really keep the account like where we were, because we were pretty much touching 7K all day yesterday before the dump happened. Now we're back down to 6,158, which is still not bad. Still not bad at all. Considering the fact that the previous dump, this little long price action over here, we were sitting at 5,200. So even with this dump right here, we're still positive, almost $1,000. So now about 150 of that is from this ETH long that's been kicking back up here, but we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I am having thoughts of possibly re-entering if we do see a retouch of this, but otherwise I do have to wait for a new position to form. Alright, so if we have an A to the upside, a B to the downside, and a C to the upside. Alright, this was the short position from yesterday. Like I said, I didn't plan on getting out of my long for BTC at all. I would still be holding on to it if it wasn't for the fact that I was a dumbass. Alright, but someone did comment that, whatchamacallit, sometimes oopsies are a good thing. And I guess, yeah, it did fortunately work out in my favor, but that was not the plan. Alright, just because a downside price action is coming does not mean that I am bearish on the market to the point where I think it was going to kick out my $27,000 long. Alright, I was just wanting to hold that even if this was to happen. Alright, we had the hedge. That was the plan. Hold the long position, hedge the short position, take profit on the short position while still holding the long. Alright, so it does put me in a little bit of a predicament, I do have to say. Alright, but we're just being patient. Hopefully we do get something like this coming into the future. and I do get a new position to hold, and hopefully that turns into a larger ABC going to the upside. All right, my predisposition based on fractals is that hopefully this is turning into an Adam and Eve position. Basically, what we see from the market after a major dump, a shakeout, we see a massive uptick. All right, you can call it a melt up, you can call it whatever you want. All right, and then after that, we get kind of like a slow drain sideways. We saw that initially, but I do think it's going to be happening on a larger scale. I didn't necessarily think that this pattern, the one that we were coming off of, was quite large enough to get us back up to these regions, so it does make sense for this dump to happen. All right, I don't, I'm not surprised if we do see a little bit more continuation to the downside. Like I said, I hope that there is an ABC position that forms over the next couple of days through this price action for me to get a re-entry. Otherwise, if we do happen to see a retest of 28,633, I'll grab that. All right, this is the original ETH position I'm holding on to. All right, you can see we came back down and retested 1770. All right, so I mean, at one point I probably was sitting negative. I just didn't notice. But with that uptick to the upside, I'm feeling pretty confident. Like I said, considering the fact of what I just said of BTC, where we could see an uptick, create a B wave momentarily, and then see one more down wave, I possibly am still going to get wicked out of Ethereum. I have no problems with that. LTC, I got kicked out of it when we came back down below 64.60. All right, so I am waiting for a reposition on that. If we do happen to put in a lower low over here about $60.17, I'll go ahead and grab that. Let me just make sure. Okay, making sure that my is everything good? See people saying stuff in the chat. So this would turn into a ABCA and then B and then C wave position if we do happen to see a lower low on LTC. All right. Now, I'm aware of all the multiple possibilities. I'm just kind of going in chronological order. Obviously, if we do happen to have a major dump and we see a lower low than 54, I do slightly lose a little bit of confidence in the market, but if we can recover $54.46, I'll be entering on that. But as of right now, this is the next upcoming setup if we don't get back above 64.60 to begin with. KDA, I got kicked out of KDA as well. All right, we did not put in a lower low here. I mean, I guess we did depending on which chart you were using. You can see we put in a slightly lower low. I did not take that position. If we do happen to get back above 216, I'll be going into a position. If not, I do need to see us put in another lower low here. Just like with LTC, this would turn into an ABC. All right, now you can draw this multiple ways. You can say that this is still A and B, and this is just a lengthened C wave with an ABC within it. However you want to call it. There's no right or wrong answer to this stuff, but if we do happen to see support come in after putting in a lower low, I'll be hopping into that as well. US 100, go and check on that. Still seeing a slight rejection off of the macro A position for this massive correction. All right, but on the bright side, we do see on the 15-minute time frame here a possible ABC, maybe wanting to go back up and retest, possibly put in a higher high. That is something to be aware of. We do have an uptrend into a downtrend, possible uptrend position. So we might be seeing a little bit of a larger rejection here if we happen to see that come in. All right, if we do get back above 13 grand and we can hold it, that's the good thing. But this is something to be aware of. All right, SPY. We did get back above its macro A position, but we are currently back below it. Looks like on the smaller time frames, we are getting a slight rejection. But we do see the possibility of forming kind of like an A, B, C. Now, this is not the type of ABC that I would probably be taking a trade upon. It's something to note. This is where I would like in my brain, I see this as, okay, an ABC, and then it might be able to use that in order to form a B wave, and then a possible C wave, and then that's when you take your position. All right, you got to know when to wait for things and which ones are not necessarily worth taking. Like I said, typically when people have problems with ABCs, you can really narrow it down to like what time frame they're sitting on. All right, and like I told you guys before, you can use the 15-minute time frame in the wrong ways just as much as anybody else. You know, if your chart looks like this, all right, you have a problem. All right. So that's why I always say, whatever time frame you're on, try to maintain like as zoomed out as possible. That way, you're limiting yourself to lower term perspectives. Whereas something like that on that smaller time frame, where if we zoom in, all right, you can see an A, you can see a B, and you're like, okay, I'm going to wait for that C. I'm going to take that position. But if you just zoom out a little bit, you can see how insignificant it is, and that it might just be one part of a larger whole. And if you wait for the bigger setup, you're going to have a much more easy time mentally and physically on your account. Just like how right now, I'm not eager to jump into any trades. Some people might go down to a 1 minute time frame and go, Kite, what about this ABC right here? All right. That is so insignificant. All right. Now, can we see upside price action come out of it? Of course we can. Anything can happen in the markets. But it's about waiting for the plausible positions and waiting out the ones that are just kind of weak. And this is weak. All right. So I see this as a possible A going into a possible B and then possibly a C. Now, obviously, with me having an Ethereum position, I don't want this to be a deep C, but I can't really dictate what the market does. Hopefully it looks something like this. We don't see too much of a dump on other things. But that's kind of my thought process for the day. Covered US 100, SPY, all the things that I'm looking to get into. All right. So let me check on my AMD. Okay, AMD's retesting its A position. I mean, we're seeing a lot of correction waves in the market. It is a question of whether or not we can recover those lows and stabilize the market. I get that, but it's all about patience. We'll see what happens. All right, guys. I'm now looking at you, so. He said, check waves. Please check waves. I'm telling you right now, man, there's nothing really I can tell you on waves. That thing has pumped massively. All right. I mean, I guess I can say, all right, we have an uptrend, we have a downtrend, we have an uptrend. This would have been your short position. But at the same time, that market's a little bit different, my dude. A little bit different. All right, let's zoom out to a higher time frame. All right, so this is a big thing that I saw a couple people doing. They'll draw their ABCs like this. This is invalid. All right, your B cannot be above your 0, the start of your A. All right, so what this tells us is this is not an ABC. All right, this was the ABC. All right here. All right, and then this was your short position, and this is the following price action, not the opposite. All right, this was a very strong ABC right here, if anybody took that. All right, we had A, we had B, we had C. Could have got a position from here. Looks like you would have been wicked out a couple times. Once you got that strong push to the upside, that would have been amazing. All right, but there is no long positions that I can see from a higher time frame on waves, only a short position. All right, it makes sense. Like I said, we were talking about this yesterday, how BTC was showing us the market was going to get, bearish a little bit. All right, but I'm still fairly bullish. All right, like I said, I do think this is resembling a lot of the past price action where we have major dumps, we have a quick recovery, a slow drain. All right, this one was kind of like a flat bottom, but I'm referring more to like over here. You can see major dump, quick recovery, slow drain, retest, slow drain, and it kind of built like a horizontal resistance. But pretty much every single end of a bear market has ended in some sort of manner like this, where it's kind of sideways, but there's a lot of upticks, maintaining volume. Over here as well, slow drain, boom. So I don't think at the moment that this is a strong enough or large enough, but it's getting there. Like I said, if we're looking at this as one gigantic B wave going into a C wave, all right, or A wave going into a B wave, we should be able to maintain some sort of coolness in the market. Like I said, the 1 year hodler wave, all right, is kind of telling us that the market is locked up, which doesn't mean necessarily that we're going into another bull run, but it could mean a stabilization of the price in the market. All right. Another good factor is the 50-day EMA on the weekly chart. All right. Like I said, I don't typically use indicators whatsoever unless they are in larger time frames. All right. Just like how we use the RSI with a 125 length to maintain a higher perspective on the market rather than getting caught up in chop. It's the same exact thing for the EMAs and SMAs and MAs. Which one is the 50? I'm assuming the orange one. Wait, this is part one. Alright, so if we go out to, I can check if matches up. Maybe it's the monthly. Possibly the monthly. Yeah, it's the monthly. Alright, so I mean, you can see right here, every single time that we come down and touch the 50 EMA on the monthly chart, alright, you can see we get wicks past it, so there is some more room to the downside, most definitely. But you can see it's generally the bottom. Alright, obviously past performance does not indicate future results, but we can take that as an assumption, that's all. And you can see we might be actually using that as resistance here, but I'm not too into hoodoo you voodoo. I swear I'm the dumbest person in the planet. Well, if you're in the planet, you're probably losing oxygen. All you gotta do is get to the surface and breathe a little fresh air. Maybe you'll smarten up. I saw your ABC video and normally see your live streaming, but still can't get it. It's very simple. All right, you're basically just waiting for price action. Now it's the danger is, like I said, I think people take this way too seriously and they try to go down to a small time frame. I see it even in the Discord sometimes. People post setups on 1 minute time frames. All right, now problem is that sometimes they do work out. I get that, and I used to be that person too. All right, and maybe it set a bad example, but it does decrease your win ratio a lot. So I'd be very, very careful. And part of the problem is like if you're utilizing small time frames in conjunction with the macro time frame, you can have good results. But typically we don't see people doing that. We see them isolating trades on small setups that aren't necessarily like utilizing them to the best potential. All right, one really good example of this is if someone was willing to go ahead and say, okay, we have an A, we have a B, and we're in our C wave. And I notice that we have, you know, kind of like an ABC position at the top of the C wave here, right? Would I blame you if you took this position, but you were saying that it was in conjunction with the macro position and you were just trying to secure a safer position? No, right? Because you're utilizing the micro in conjunction with the macro and making sure that you're doing things properly. But most people, they'll isolate this position and then they'll take profits way too soon. All right, what's the point of that? All right, so make sure you're being really, really careful. So back to your question of like, you still can't get it. All right, you're looking for the market to go up, go down, and go up. All right. Now, it does take a little bit of practice to get your eyes adjusted. All right. Make sure you're using HA candles. It'll help you better identify trends. Make sure you're on a larger time frame. And what you're looking for is find your lowest low or your highest high on a chart. All right, so if I'm looking at this chart right here, okay, I can see that price action extends past this. All right, so I don't have a highest high on this chart because the highest high is past where I can see. All right, but I do have a lowest low. So I can start my A position from there. All right, what I'm looking for is where does price action continue up until it doesn't and it breaks trend. All right, now that's a very vague thing to say, but I hate to say it, it is something that you just need to be able to see. All right, there is no identifiable way. You can possibly use trend lines to help you, but not necessarily every time does a trend line indicate a break of trend, because sometimes things just kind of move sideways, but I still consider that a break of trend. All right, so right here we can see price action goes from this low all the way to this high, and you can see we put in lower lows until this point right here. All right, and then once we get a high that extends past the original, that now can become my C wave. All right, we can assume that we're in the C wave, but until we officially put in a new high, we cannot name this RC. All right, and what confirms the short entry is if we come back below the A. Now, the theoretical approach to why this works, or what I would theorize myself, is most people in the market are typically breakout traders, meaning that once they get past their last local high, they take a long. All right. So imagine you have a whole bunch of people that are taking longs in this region, and then price action starts to slide back on them. All right. When you get stopped out of a long, you have to sell short to get out of it. All right. So the same people that are trying to long the market at a certain point, once they either one get liquidated, stopped out, or they simply let go of their trade, are the same people that are dumping it. So we are taking advantage of that situation by entering short when everybody else is hoping to dear God that the market starts pumping. And then eventually they get liquidated and it works in our favor. Does it happen every single time? No. But when it does happen, it usually happens pretty violently, right? Because when a lot of people get liquidated at once, it causes kind of like an avalanche effect. All right. So you can take that same exact method and apply it to the downside, which is what we're doing with the macro. Remember, everything I do is all intentional based on the macro. That's where I get my bias from macro supports and macro resistances, and most importantly, the macro ABC setups. If we look at this chart, which is a much higher time frame, we can see our highest high starts from about 69,300. All right, so if we start our A position from there, we follow the market until it stops and reverses into a new uptrend. All right, you can see we put in a higher high, and we also took a short position from the top of that. All right, that's how I could, kind of guesstimate whether or not we were going to put in a C wave and at least test 33K, if not lower. Thank God we went lower, made a lot of money. All right, so this is the macro setup that all of my smaller time frame trades are intentionally set up to take advantage of it. That is the number one reason why I did not want to lose that long entry on BTC. It was a mistake of mine, and I might regret it coming up here in the future. Now, the saving grace is I can take a position once we get back above 33K. All right, but at this moment in time, we're nowhere close to doing that. I have to wait. Now, obviously, if I can get a position from down here and we get back above 33K, it acts like a shield protecting me from the volatility that is in that region above 33K, or possibly even dipping back below it. That's why we need to take these positions. That's why I think the way that I do. All right, everything you do needs to be in conjunction with the macro. I got it. All right, I'm not concerned about other coins. All right, we marked out this ABC the other day. I see it on the macro. Let's check on the micro. I see what you're talking about. It already did put in a lower low. If you believe in it, take it. But the problem is that I do think that the market will see a slightly lower dump. So who's to say that just like on Ethereum, we don't see A, B, C. All right, just like this. So be careful. All right, make sure that you're checking on what the bigger coins want because they have way more volume. All right, and people are willing to sell out of altcoins and to buy up the dips from these larger coins because it's just safety. That's all it is. Hey brother, just started trading full time. What do you recommend to make more money? Patience. Right? Nothing's going to immediately make you more money. All right, what's going to make you more money is you having a solid plan that you can stick to that's provenly profitable and just continue no matter how tedious it is. All right, I sat at $3,000 for like 2 months. All right, I made some money, lost some money. It was kind of sitting net even. All right, but I stuck to my strategy and I doubled that. All right, we're now sitting at $6,000. All right, and now every single time that I take a trade, I'm making twice as much money as I did before, but I'm also losing twice as much as I did before. All right, now 1% is 1%. All right, so if my account is $3,000 and I'm willing to lose 1% when I get stopped out of a trade, I'm willing to lose $30. If I hit a 20 restored ratio, I make $600. All right, but now that my account is doubled, the percentages stay the same, but 1% is now $60, meaning if I hit a 20 restored ratio, I'm making $1,200. But if I lose 60. All right, as your account grows, as long as your strategy remains the same and you're willing to stick to it, your money will grow with it. It takes time. There's absolutely no way to go from zero to hero immediately, especially in this type of market. When we have the advantage of money being locked up, supply shocks, plus the circulation shock from the halvening, that's when you can start taking things like long breakout trades with a little bit more confidence and hopefully help compound your account. We don't have that right now, and not even for the next like 800 days do we have that. So be patient, go with the flow, don't rush it. All right, because the second that you start rushing it, that's when you crash it. Fast is going good. I'm on day 3 now. All right, we started on Monday. I did weigh myself today just to see if things were starting to go the way that I wanted them to. I've lost 1.5 pounds over the past 3 days. So, about a 0.5 pound a day. Love to see it. But I kind of cheated because I told me and my buddy that we should only weigh ourselves on Mondays. All right, that way, like, we don't get too attached to the number that's happening. And I'm going to stick to that. I just wanted to see if things were starting to work out. But I'm sticking to it. Enough is enough. And anybody that's in the Discord, like, we sit on the Discord every day. We try to, be as active as possible. So if anybody wants to join us, I know someone reached out to me today and, said like me talking openly about how I feel about weight loss and size I am inspired them to do it. So, that's not my intention. I'm doing this mostly for myself because, lately, like past couple of months, I felt like I was on death's door. But my heart rate's doing good again. And I'm looking forward to like the next couple months. Only started, so I can't really like rant and rave about the effects. But what is profit loss ratio? So basically, it just means like how much you bring in versus how much you're losing. All right, that's why I said, you should personally track your results because what I deem appropriate in the market might give me a certain win percentage and you another. Yours can be higher, it can be lower. All right, just because it's lower doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be profitable. All right, you need to make sure you can check on that for yourself. All right, the two things that you're looking for is what is your win ratio, and when you do win, what is your average R&R? All right, how much you're risking versus how much you're bringing in. All right, so for example, if you have a 1-to-1 ratio, all right, meaning if you risk 60, you bring in 60. Okay, you need at least a 51% win ratio in order to break net profitable. Now, that 1% is such a low margin that you probably won't be able to risk a lot of percentage points. I would say like once you start getting above 5% of an edge, basically meaning like if you have a 1-to-4, all right, you need to win, all right, only 20% of your trades. That means if you have a 25% win rate, you're doing really, really well. All right, so like for example, for me, I'm typically chasing around 9 to 10 restored ratio trades. Sometimes we get really lucky and we hit like 40s and 50s and 100s. Doesn't happen all the time, but if we do play our cards correctly, it can. All right, so find out what that is for you. All right, go to my channel, go to the tutorial section on the playlists, watch the R&R math tutorial. The Discord is $50 a month. I try to position myself the best I can where it doesn't seem like I'm just trying to take people's money, but there has to be some sort of barrier for people that are trying to be more professional with this. I mean, if you look around, most other Discords, they cost like above $100 a month to join, so I feel like I'm not price gouging at all. Yeah, I actually closed my loan because I'm an idiot and I forgot you can't hedge on this market perfectly dumps after. It's just one of those things, man. I can't predict stuff, but I'm still mad about it. Like people think that I would be happy that I close my trade and the market dumps perfectly. I'm not, because that was a good position and it saved me from a lot of volatility. Um, and I'm sad that I lost it. So, it is what it is. The Discord offers me and others. All right, I do post my positions when I get into them. Maybe not all the time reliably. Like ADA last night, I didn't post that. It was just kind of a spur of the moment thing. But I'm typically sitting in the Discord pretty much every single day, like physically in the voice chat. I try to be. It wasn't like that always, just because I didn't feel the need to, but I do enjoy people's company, so I'm usually there. You can come in, you can ask me questions, I can sit down with you, or we can just shoot the shit, play video games. Who knows? There's tons of people chatting all the time. Good place to be. I've heard you speak about hedge position. I was wondering if you could describe that a bit more. How does that work side by side with a long and short? If you're on inverse perpetual, you cannot hedge trade unless you have two accounts. All right, but on USDT, you can have an open long and an open short position without them interacting with each other. The ticket to it is you should have a bias in the market. All right, what do you think is the highest probability of thing happening? For me, it's us getting back above 33K and possibly seeing some upside price action from that. All right, but I cannot deny that the market will have pullbacks in that time. All right, so in this case scenario, I was holding a long position from 27,700. But I see that the market is giving me a bearish position from 31,400. All right, so I cannot sit here and deny that and say that, oh, the market's not bearish because I'm bullish. All right, I see that the market's bearish and I'm willing to take that short trade. All right, at the same time that I'm holding my long. All right, that means that if I'm completely wrong on the market, and it moves way past where I originally took my long, at least I made up for some of the loss that I incurred from my stop loss on my long, and possibly even a small amount of profit, so it doesn't feel like I wasted my time. And if all goes perfectly to plan, I take profit on my short, my long doesn't get stopped out, and the market continues moving up. All right, that is the perfect case scenario, and you can just kind of vice versa that for the short side. All right, now sometimes it doesn't work out. All right, I took a short position all the way up here at 45,343, and I took profit on it at about 27K. All right, so from that position, I still took longs in the market. All right, right here when the market gave us an A, B, C position, I took that long. All right, just because I am short and ultimately macro bias short on the market does not mean that I can ignore when the market is telling me that there's going to be a possible retest if or we have found support and we're going to continue higher. It is always better to hedge against yourself and maybe lose a little bit of the overall profit in return for security of the overall profit, if that makes any sense. I started with $1,600 technically, but the account was only ever at 1,000. All right, so I used 1,000, was risky on small time frames. We got up to 5K, bombed it pretty fast because I was just overzealous, and then it went all the way back down to 400, and I refilled it with $600 up to 1,000. So the starting point was 1,000, but technically I used $1,600. Assuming you enter long at 33K, what are you looking for your... I'm looking for the market to give me a significantly large ABC, something like this. All right, ABC. All right, so let's say that we have a push to the upside over the next couple of weeks. All right, and we come back up to 42,000, and then we have a B wave back down to 33K, and then we have a C wave trying to retest these local highs, but then we get back down below 42K. All right, from that point, I will obviously take the short position, and what I'll be looking for is the market to give me a new place of confidence to go long from. That way I can exit my long position, theoretically like right here. All right, But then if I am wrong about the market being macro bearish and it does want to continue the upside, I can hop back in my long from a new place of confidence. All right, I won't be taking profit at the tippy top. I'll be taking profit where I have security, where I can get back in safely. That's what people don't understand. People think that it's about maximizing profit to the fullest potential. It's not. It's about security over time equals profit and compounding. All right. And then if this is the case scenario that will happen, all right, that's when I'll be really bearish. All right. Now, technically, if things do work out a certain way, I'll hedge always long. If we get to a certain point, I'll hold that. But from that point, the market would look like this: A, B, and I would be saying, hey, we might have another C to the downside. We might even have a double bottom, but I will be calling for a retest of 25K, if not lower, if we do happen to see something like this over the next couple of weeks, months. I have to sit, I have to wait. I don't know what the market's going to do, but by little steps here and there, the market starts whispering what it might do, and I can plan around that safely. All right. Hoping and trying to force your will upon the market way too fast never ends well. All right. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. The R&R calculator uses margin, but you can use that in any way. It's mostly for leverage traders, but there's a much better tutorial than me on the live stream right now. If you go to my channel, go to the tutorials, click on R&R math tutorial. It's me sitting in a chair just like right here, explaining everything. How to use the R&R calculator, how to use it to set up a trade, how to use that to factor into your win ratio and your R&R and figure out what your correct risk should be using Kelly criterion. It's all there. It's all there. Sometimes hedging position is eating all the profit. Do you have a bias? Right, because if you have a bias, you should have no problem taking profit on the hedge position. But you're afraid. There's a wrong way to use hedge positions, and that's being too afraid. All right. And also another thing is like where people like think that taking a long and a short at the same exact price point is viable. It's really not. No, like it goes back to yesterday. All right, someone mentioned that in Trading in the Zone, it has a quote that says, it feels worse to leave money on the table than taking a loss. All right. You need to get the frick over that. All right. You're never, ever going to get anywhere if you cry whenever you leave money on the table. All right. Because taking profit is not always the answer. All right. For example, yesterday, all right, I was sitting at $7,000. My Ethereum long was up $500. My LTC long was up like $400. I had $100 on KDA. I had all this profit that it was unrealized, aka on the table. I took my hedge positions, and knowing that it was not going to cover all of the on the table profit, the only reason why I take the hedge position is to cover the loss from the initial trade if I fully get stopped out and hopefully maybe make a little bit more than what I started with. That is it. I'm not looking to save all $1,000 of profit if the market goes down. Sometimes you can, but it's not always, and this was definitely not one of those times. All right, the only viable short position that I saw was on BTC and ADA. Unfortunately, I got stepped out of ADA, wasn't able to get a re-entry. All right, so I couldn't save all the profit. That is not eating the profit. That profit was never there. Until you hit market out, that is not your money. That is potential money. All right, but it's not yours. All right, the book says that it's harder to leave money on the table than taking a small loss. That does not mean that that's the right way of thinking. You need to get used to it. Understand that the overall profit and security of the account is worth more than saving all of your profit that you see on your unrealized. Otherwise, you're going to be just distraught and upset that the market didn't work out exactly how you wanted it to work out. And then you're doing stupid shit on the 1 minute time frame trying to make it back. Don't do that. Don't lie to me. We've all been there. I have too. It takes a lot of time to realize that you're the idiot. Because when it does work out, it re-solidifies in your brain that that was the right thing to do. But just because it worked out once doesn't mean it will work out the other 10 times. All right, it's just like DCAing into a loss. You start to lose track of what your actual risk is in the trade because you're just too afraid to say, I was wrong about the market dumping at this point. Instead of just taking a small loss and walking away and waiting for the setup to get better. That's all. How to adjust Bybit fees? Please help. I mean, my bad. It is expensive than Binance. And there's no way to adjust the fees. I've been on Bybit for 4 years. I've never had a problem with their fees. What that tells me is that you're marketing in and marketing out 1,000 trades a day and it's eating away at your account. Don't do that. When you're making winning trades, a small little bit of fees don't really seem to matter to you. All right, make sure that when you're getting into a trade, it's a trade worth taking and worth losing on. Otherwise, you're doing that way too much. All right, if you're worried about the fees, that's all it tells me is that you're entering way too many trades and you're probably trying to scalp because you want to make money fast, big money, buku bucks dollar. Don't do that. Just like I said before, wait for the larger setups. Take setups that are worth losing because the profit that can be made from them is so massive. I gotta turn on my air conditioner. Give me 1 second. You just call me Kyle? That's my nephew's name. Kyle. Why is being risky like being on drugs? It's just dopamine. Like anything that can like put you, it's maybe not dopamine. It's more endorphins. The dopamine happens if what you're doing ends up in a win because it's like re-solidifying in your brain that what you did was the correct thing to do and it wants you to do it more. All right, dopamine is the motivating factor, not necessarily like making you happy. What you might be more addicted to is like the sympathetic nervous system. All right, when you're putting a lot of money on the line and doing so stupidly, all right, what happens is like you get stressed. Now, being stressed not necessarily is always a bad thing. You know, you get the release of endorphins, your adrenaline level goes up, your heartbeat goes up, you get excited. And that's an addictive feeling. It's the equivalent of taking Adderall. Adderall just increases your dopamine production and puts you in a sympathetic nervous state. It's literally like being risky in the market. Obviously with different factors, but you get my point. Kite, how many trades are you taking per week on average? I would say probably like 1 or 2 major setups, but I might take like 10 trades trying to get an entry to stick on those setups. So technically to me, like it might only be like 1 or 2 trades, but the amount of times that like I enter and maybe get stopped out might exceed that. So technically I'm taking more trades, but it's based on 1 setup, if that makes sense. Kite, does trend of US 100 and SPY somehow impact BTC as well? Of course it does. All right, it's just how money flows in the market. If people are doing well in one market, they're willing to sell off some of that profit to put into another market that they trust. It's just how stuff works. Are they directly correlated? I don't really care. I watch BTC. If BTC tells me that BTC is bearish, I'm short on BTC. I don't care about anything else. I don't care about your gosh darn indicator. I don't care about your gosh darn market over here. I care about BTC and what BTC is trying to tell me. Now, because BTC is kind of like the head of this entire market, I do use it to clue in to how to act on other coins, but other coins might have different setups. Heck, look at XMR. XMR has kind of, fallen away from the pack here, doing a completely different setup than pretty much everything else, whereas Ethereum and BTC, they're moving correlated-ish, but not necessarily. Said, how do you deal with the psychology of trading? Any podcast recommendations? Trading in the Zone is probably one of the best books because it's directly related to trading. But anything having to do with like Zen, and not like the, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the hyped up version that gets peddled to everybody through social media. Like, go look at some authentic shit. Like the Shobo Genzo, translated, obviously. I don't expect you to read Japanese, but just being able to understand what you think, which a lot of us don't, right? Being able to watch yourself in third person as you make actions and how you think through things. And that's the one thing that I was screaming at you guys yesterday. Most people just don't freaking think. All right, sit down at your chart and actually theorize whether or not something is useful, whether or not something is going to be valid in terms of the profit it can provide over time. Think these things through. Don't just go searching for the answer. Try to figure out the answer. How did you learn all your knowledge? Trading. Like, I kid you not, this is why, like, someone asked me, like, why I still do this. Money is obviously a good side effect of trading, but I think the main thing trading teaches you is how to combat psychology. And through that, you can kind of get an insight on how people think. Because I'm so busy understanding my own brain, all right? Probably most people think the same way, so I can connect to them better. All right? I read stuff like the Shobo Genzo. I read a lot of religious texts. Trading the Zone. I watch Trader Tom. Just expand your horizons. And also, like I said, the biology of how things work. How does the dopamine system impact your decisions? Sympathetic nervous system, all that kind of stuff. It's so much information. It's hard to narrow it down to where I learned it exactly from. I've been researching a lot of shit since I was like 14 years old. That's the one advantage of having an ADHD brain. I'm not really interested in most stuff that people are. And when I do find something I'm interested in, usually I take it to the extreme. I learn pretty much everything I can about it, and then I fall off a cliff. I never think about that thing again. But later in my life, what I found out is like everything we look into deeply in some way or another can relate to something else that we're looking into deeply. It's like you're building a gigantic puzzle of stuff that all kind of fits together. And that's what kind of helped me like come to terms later in my life that like my youth wasn't wasted on dumb shit. A lot of it is useful in my day-to-day life nowadays. I thought I was wasting my time learning about sleep cycles and how the body works and other spiritual stuff, and it's like it all comes back in some way or another. It's weird. So I beat myself up like as a kid. I thought that I was bouncing on, or like I was never consistent. But eventually, like as things started to click, I figured I wasn't consistent for a reason, because you don't need to be. How much money your open position and how you set your stop loss and take. Oh, you just want to know everything down to feels like, see, questions like that. I understand that you might be coming from a position of trying to learn why I made the decisions, but it just comes across like you're trying to copy me exactly. I don't use take profit runners or whatever those things are called. I don't use trailing stop losses. I feel like that's a gimmick. It's there because people are afraid and it gets them stopped out faster and it makes more money for the exchange. My stop losses are static based on my setup. I don't base my stop losses off of where price action has been. I base price action based off where my setup is and how much volatility am I willing to take. It's a trade-off between how risky you're willing to be, because the more risky you are, the more money you make. All right, so you want to find a happy medium where security and profit meet, and that's different for every market. That's why on altcoins, I might not change my stop loss parameters, but I will change how much am I actually risking parameters. That means, I might have to enter more times, but at least I'm not losing as much money while doing so. When did you know you wanted to trade with your life? I fortunately was enough to have a lot of money when I turned 18, and just being ADD, I don't like working regular jobs. You just don't keep my attention long enough. And trading seemed like it was the perfect thing. It's constantly changing. It challenged me to kind of figure out how I think, and I liked it. It took me a while to realize how much of a shitty I had been in the early stages, but things started to click along the way, one by one. It does take time though. Is hitting rock bottom the only way to put 1000% after the devastation, or is it possible to undo habits here? I think as humans, unfortunately, we learn the hard way. And I don't know if that always has to be the case, but it certainly does seem so. You think about like the mistreatment of people. It requires like things getting absolutely terrible in order for people to like change their behavior. Economies, we have to run things to the absolute moon and take advantage of everything until it absolutely blows up in our face. We have to wait until a war spreads before we do anything about it. We have to wait until we're, at death's door with our health in order to make a positive change. It seems like every single little thing that happens positive, unfortunately, has to come from something negative. And I don't know if that's a bad thing. Obviously, saving pain and suffering would be awesome, but I don't know if we would have progression mentally, physically, technologically without it. It's an unfortunate predicament. If you can't set up a stop loss and want to copy positions, I think it's very, very dangerous to leverage trade if you don't know what you're doing. Absolutely. Leverage trading is a double-edged sword. It can be absolutely tremendously beneficial, but at the same time, it can be deathly dangerous. All right, it's a double-edged sword. You can cut yourself with it, or it can be a really good weapon. All right, because to me, I view, leverage trading as a way to keep a small amount of your portfolio on an exchange and make good trades with it, or while keeping 90% of your portfolio in a cold storage wallet where nobody can touch it. So it's portfolio exposure. It allows me to short when the market's going to get bearish. It allows me to cut up and make sure that I'm making smarter decisions. It's allowed me to do things I don't think I would have done otherwise. But at the same time, people can use it as a gambling addiction where they go 100x with their portfolio because they don't want to be patient. It's a dangerous game, and I do feel like in the early stages, Bybit definitely resembled a casino more often than not. The way their leverage was set up, it was, kind of just like this slider. I guess it still is, but they've done a better job. They've added more increments, whereas before it was just like 5, 10, 15, 100x pretty much. There was like 4 things. Now they got 1, 3, 5, 10, and they allow you to change it to whatever you want if your number is not on that list. like I said, the trailing stop losses, I think those are negatively impacting people. I don't disagree that these things are set up for people to lose, but that's the game we're playing. The name for what you say between young and getting older is the maturity. Like your philosophy, what is your daily routine? Really bad right now. I used a lot of those examples for why like humans have to change, because I've gone through that. I've pushed myself to the limits with marijuana. I've pushed myself to the limits with psychedelics. I've pushed myself to the limit with stimulants, because once again, I have an ADD nature and I like to investigate. I'm very investigative mindset. Thank God, like I can pull myself away from those things pretty easily if I do think that they're too destructive. But there is positives and negatives in all things. Psychedelics, stimulants, marijuana, they can be positive things as much as they can be destructive things. Unfortunately, the wealth that I've kind of walked into in my life has allowed me to kind of just slack off. Like I order food to my house every day. It's positive because I'll never go hungry, but at the same time, I'll never go hungry. And then I put on all this weight where like, I think like my healthy weight should be probably around like 170, 160. But I was touching 220 a couple months ago and I felt bad. So right now I'm 202.3. I was 203.8 on Monday. So hopefully like 3-4 months down the line, I'm slim thick with my cute ass, but as of right now, I'm still a little bit on that bigger side. But yeah, my daily routine is I wake up right now for at least the next 2 weeks. I wake up into my eating window, I shovel food down my gullet, and then once my eating window is up, which is at 7, which is a little bit before I started this live stream, I stop eating. I only drink water. So for 2 weeks, I'm doing a 4-hour eating window. After that, I'm doing a 6-hour eating window, pretty much until I might keep it. I don't know, because intermittent fasting has been one of probably the only things that really worked for me personally, because the science behind it is what's important, because most of the problems with weight gain and weight loss comes from mostly insulin sensitivity. And me drinking Pepsis and Cokes my entire childhood, my insulin resistance is pretty bad. So, intermittent fasting helps you get back to a homeostasis with that. So, I haven't got into a BTC long yet. Yeah, like you can use 100x leverage safely, but it's why? If you're doing that, one, you're probably doing it because you just like to see the big percentages, or two, you need to have a very slim margin on all of your trades because you have 1,000 different trades open, which is really not. It's really counterintuitive. I don't know what the correct limit would be. I guess it's based on the individual. For me, I can keep track of maybe like 4 or 5 coins at a time. But some people, they can only do 2 or maybe even 1. So why use 100x at that point? So you can do the same. Yeah, you can do the same ordering healthy stuff, but it's battling the human brain as always. But I'm getting better at it. The good thing about intermittent fasting is because you're allowing your body, it's basically like, imagine like a highway, right? And there is no off ramps, right? Because your insulin is always spiked, your body never is able to get rid of the stuff that is clogging it up. So eventually this highway, after a period of time, maybe 20 years, right, gets filled up, traffic starts going, people start honking at each other, and then people start beating the shit out of each other in the middle of the highway, right? Not a good situation, right? So what intermittent fasting does is it closes off the on ramps for a little bit, and then it opens up the off ramps and allows people to go ahead and get off, right? Allows your adipose tissue to, not get overfilled, and allows your body to enter autophagy, which allows your body to recycle bad and old cells. It starves cancerous cells of glucose, which is what is created when your body spikes its insulin. Uh, there's a lot of things, which is why probably all these religions have fasting in some way or another. You got Lent for Christians, you got Ramadan for Muslims. I know Buddhists, they do fasting a lot, but they also do like more extreme shit, like sit in a cave for 30 days and their brain get filled with DMT to see God. It's crazy stuff. But I'm ready to make this change because I don't know, I feel like a broken record saying that. I mean, you can go back to one of my older live streams, probably click on a random timestamp and I'll be saying the same shit. But I'm kind of done and fed up. Kite, when I asked you the other day about harmonics, I thought you were a bit dismissive. I found that they're actually good reversal indicator coupled with the divergence. They're great. I'm sure they are, man. I'm dismissive of them because I have my strategy and my strategy works well. I'm not looking to change it. If it works for you, I'm very glad. But I mean, you can call ABCs a harmonic as well. It's just downtrend, uptrend, downtrend. I'm sure like a bat pattern may maybe be very similar. All I'm saying is that with a lot of those things, like a Elliott wave and harmonics, there's a lot of information to shove into your brain, and people maybe take it overboard, looking for exact numbers, exact retracements, whatever it might be. They don't keep it simple. If you can do that, do it. If it works for you, if it gives you something to hang on to, I'm glad. But for me, I'm not looking. A lot of people come in here ask me to look at different strategies and stuff. I'm not concerned with it. I'm really not. This works. It's not me just saying this shit. I use this shit all the time. I do have a Twitter, but I don't use it, so I mean, it's really not worth you following it. I think it's like _Kite, but I don't ever post on it, so. You seem too young to be so smart. Yeah, it's dangerous. That's how things can be good. They can be dangerous too. Dude, what are you? You okay? He said big whales pull out, change Wi-Fi and Google Passwords. I don't know what you mean. I mean, it's always good to change your Google passwords and Wi-Fi every now and again. So I mean, I guess you're just spouting good stuff. Do you hold crypto? Absolutely. And what do you think about the Luna losing traders? I didn't touch Luna at all. I maybe shorted it a couple times, but I wasn't investing in it. I had a bunch of relatives that reached out to me talking about how they should they go ahead and invest in these APY things that were offering like 40% APY. And I go like, I don't know, because to me, it's one of those simple things. If something is too good to be true, it probably is. So when you look at something that's offering you 40% APY, when a bank can only offer you maybe like 2% at most, what makes you think that the crypto market is so much more spectacular? Right now, I agree. Like some of the shit I've said sounds like that same thing. Maybe able to turn $100 into 100,000, but I did it on live stream. I showed you exactly what I did. All right, it was a very lucky time. Like that doesn't happen very often. The bull run. If you're lucky enough to be there at the bottom and have enough knowledge to know what to do, yeah, you can make the most out of things. But like I've been doing this $1,000 account for 150 days now, half a year, and I've been able to about 6x it. think that's pretty fantastic. It's no 100 to 100,000, but in this market where it's kind of just moving sideways, I think it's pretty good. Would you show your Patreon one more time? It's in the description. It's a Discord where everybody just kind of chats. I do have like a Kite's thoughts where I post my trade setups, what I'm thinking. You'll get Discord notifications for the live streams if you guys are missing the live streams because of that. There's a couple tutorials in here that aren't YouTube public. They're very old, but they can be a good tool to see how like I came to the conclusion where I'm at today. Right, those live streams, they're key moments in my trading career where things really started to click a little bit better. That's why I put them in the videos. There's an ideas and feedback where you guys can, tell me like, hey, I thought you were like a shit attitude on the live stream today, man. Buck up or else I'm not coming back. There's that channel for that. Or if you want to see something changed in the Discord, like people, go, hey, can we get, an ABCs only chat, stuff like that. And then there's lounges for voice chatting. I mean, I'm typically sitting in like lounge 1. And a lot of people come into the chat with their mics muted and they never say hello. And it's kind of strange. It's almost like you guys are like I just imagine like holes popping up on my wall, people just staring through it at me. Just say hello. That's all I require. And then there's just like, if you want to shoot the shit with people, there's like the BS chat. But there's a bunch of people doing a bunch of different stuff. You can find it through the Patreon. Yeah, Cruiser Kong, I don't understand why you're doing this to yourself. No, it's not payable in BTC because it's a reoccurring payment on the first of every month. So that's why it has to be going through the Patreon. That way I can keep track of, who's in the group, who's paying, all that kind of stuff. At some point in the future, I do think I need to reorganize how things are done. But I'm going to give it a little more time. I got to figure out what my method is going to be because the logistics of like trying to figure out who's paying and who's not and then kicking them out, it's just hard to do. Because I never really want to kick anybody out. It's just, I don't know, it's just unfair to the people that are paying. You just waiting for the market to settle out and show us some setups. Seeing lots of charts heading towards a deep C right now. Possibly a deep C. That's definitely something that we talked about in the earlier live stream. But for me, I'm just sitting on the sidelines waiting for a setup. And right now we only have an A coming off of this larger ABC. So until we form a B and a C, I can't really do anything. I have my original position from Ethereum if things do just start to skyrocket for no reason, but we'll see what happens. What did work a long time ago, and what was your process to today and quit work? Thanks for what, like what, you're asking where did I work a long time ago? Or like what method worked a long time ago? Kind of confused on that. And what was your process to today and quit work? Well, I only had a couple jobs because I sold candy, latter part of middle school into high school. And I turned it into crypto and I made a lot. So I was fortunate enough to have that. So I really didn't have to like do anything crazy. I was pursuing my A+ and Net+ to get like a network security job if I was going to go into the actual workforce before I started trading. But you know, I only had I worked at Target and I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings. That was it. And the only reason why I got those jobs was so I can get out of high school early. You know, they had the whole work release thing where you only had to go to school half the day if you had a job. I tell you what, being a cart boy at Target was not fun. The pay was good because they paid way over minimum wage, but I was walking 28 miles a day, and I tracked it too. It's not an exaggeration. On Black Friday, I walked 34 miles, and then on day I quit, someone stole items, put them in a toilet, and someone else came in and shit on the boxes. And they were trying to tell me that I have to clean up the boxes. So I quit. Because I couldn't deal with humanity at that point. You think the logical thing would be that someone goes into a stall, sees stolen items, instead of taking a shit on cardboard boxes that are in a toilet, they go use the other toilet. Humans. And then I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for like 2.5, 3 years. I liked it. It was a nice, easy job, and I liked the people that I was around. That's when I was at Buffalo Wild Wings, that's when I did my intermittent fasting for like 6-7 months. I went from 195 down to like 162. I was running 3 miles a day. I felt fantastic, and that's what I'm trying to get back to. At that time, I did it for a girl. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. So now I kind of have to just do it for myself, and it's a little bit harder of a motivation. But just like I said, when you're at death's door and you're seeing that your health is declining so bad, it puts that motivation back in you to make a change. So, like I said, I don't know if humans should go through the pain and suffering to get to a better conclusion, but unfortunately, that's just how stuff works. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, fortunately, like I got like free Starbucks, you know, at Target, so I guess I got that. It was a good workout. What's up, Kite? I'm starting the intermittent fasting next week. You gonna join us? We'll get a big group going. Maybe I'll make something in Discord where people can like post their tracking. I think for me, after I hop off Livestream today, I'm gonna film like a little video. I was supposed to do that yesterday, but I'm gonna do it today. Hopefully just like more motivation for me to like see the before and after. And I'll post that as well. But alright guys, I'm gonna head off for tonight. Probably gonna hop on the Discord, chat a little bit. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna be here on Friday because I might be leaving early to go to the beach with my family. So I'll you know, I'll either post on Discord or on the notifications on YouTube that I'm either making it or not making it. It depends on when I leave. Because if I have a little bit of time, I might hop on for 30 minutes and see what the market's doing. But if not, I won't be here. All right, then I'll see you guys on the following Monday. But all right, let's choose a song. Hop off today. I'll be chatting on the Discord tonight. Suffering. You know, it's unfortunately like I do have, you know, other vices besides food. So one thing that I'm really looking forward to is about like my scalp has been dry lately, and like my mustache has been like flaking because of how dry my skin is. So hopefully through fasting, it helps clear up my skin and rejuvenate me. But you know, besides that, I appreciate you guys very much as always. Especially the people that like come here, not just for crypto, but just chat about random shit. I love it. I do. I feel like that's really what my live stream has become lately, but that's my favorite part about it. So, I'm gonna play William Bolton. I'm gonna play 2 songs. I'm gonna play Batshit and Running Away. All right. I do play songs that I relate to, but not always is it literal. Like I can kind of apply it to different sections of my life. I'm not literally going batshit, but I have been running away. So if you listen to the songs, you'll know what, past couple of months have been. But if you guys don't stay, I appreciate you anyway. So let's go ahead and do the thing and head off. And I'll see you guys shortly. I'm sorry that the live stream was late today and yesterday. It's just I woke up at like 1 or 2 and I had to go get things in order. And then my DoorDash took 2 hours to deliver. So I had to like scarf food down my mouth before my window ended, and then I was free. So, all right, guys, let's do the thing. Hold on. Bye.
Hours I've been lying in bed. I stare at the ceiling and I wish I was dead. 'Cause I remember every word that you said. You're in my head, you're in my head. Oh, call me a zombie because I never sleep. Oh, I eat the living creatures in all my dreams. And these pills and alcohol are my therapy. You're in my head, you're in my head. Whoa, I'm on the brink of madness, trying to kill my sadness. I might just go batshit crazy. I'm on the brink of madness. Do you see me laughing? I might just go batshit crazy. 11 hours I've been lying in bed. I stare at the ceiling and I wish I was dead. 'Cause I don't have memories, I just have regrets. You're in my head, you're in my head. Oh, call me an addict, I'm addicted to pain. Oh, I made a list of all the things that I hate. And I'm at the top, I don't know how to explain. You're in my head, you're in my head. Whoa, I'm on the brink of madness, trying to kill my sadness. I might just go batshit crazy. I'm on the brink of madness. Do you see me laughing? I might just go batshit crazy. My body's full of scars, my suffering is on. I can't feel my heart beat. I'm probably gonna die, at least I'll be high, rage into the night. I'm on the brink of madness, trying to kill my sadness. I might just go batshit crazy. I'm on the brink of madness. Do you see me laughing? I might just go batshit running away, running away. I always waste time running away. At the end of the day, I never change. I always waste time running away. Oh no, woke up lying on the floor, yeah, in a cheap hotel. Damn, I can't do this anymore, yeah. I'm a stranger to myself. 3 years I've been living fast, yeah. with some people who don't got my back, yeah. Now it's time that I face the facts, yeah. That I'm in a fucking crisis. I'm a sucker to my vices. The reason I think that I'm dying, yeah. When things get hard, I'm running away, running away. I always waste time running away. At the end of the day, I never change. I always waste time running away. Oh no. I always waste time running away. Oh no. It'll take its toll to go against your soul. It'll leave you all alone, alone. The sex and the drugs ain't the problem. It's just the way I try to solve them. Still can't solve them. When things get hard, I'm running away, running away. I always waste time running away. At the end of the day, I never change. I always waste time running away.